June 30, 1999. That was the day Manu Ginobili's name was called 57th overall in the NBA draft by the San Antonio Spurs. The second-round pick, virtually unknown in the United States, a player many considered too small, too unconventional, and too foreign to succeed in the NBA. Few could have predicted that this relatively obscure draft pick would one day redefine the sixth-man role, revolutionize the idea of bench players, and leave a legacy that rivals some of today's biggest stars. Manu didn't arrive with the hype of LeBron or Durant. He didn't demand the spotlight, chase awards, or appear on magazine covers. Instead, he quietly, methodically, and intelligently changed the game. He was the spark behind dynasties, the crafty genius who made everyone around him better, and the player who forced coaches, analysts, and opponents alike to rethink basketball. By the time he retired, Manu had 4 NBA championships, 2 All-Star selections, and an Olympic gold medal, but his influence went far beyond numbers. He showed that greatness could exist off the starting lineup, that craft and timing could be as lethal as athleticism, and that the NBA would never look the same again. The question remains, could a bench player really be better than many of today's stars? Tonight, we unravel the story of Manu Ginóbili, the bench player who broke the system. Manu Ginóbili was born on July 28, 1977, in Bahia Blanca, Argentina, a city famously known as the capital of Argentina basketball. From the very beginning, basketball ran in his blood. His father, Jorge, was a professional player, and Manu grew up watching him practice, absorbing the game's subtleties and learning that basketball was as much about intelligence and creativity as it was about raw talent. From childhood, Manu stood out not because he was the tallest or fastest kid on the court, but because he thought differently. While other kids relied on speed or brute strength, Manu invented moves that seemed impossible: behind-the-back passes, spin dribbles in traffic, and early versions of the Euro step that would later confound NBA defenders. By his teenage years, Ginóbili was already a national sensation in Argentina. He played for Estudiantes de Bahia Blanca, leading them to local championships and showcasing his uncanny court vision. His ability to read defenses and manipulate angles made him unique. Unlike many players whose development focuses on individual scoring, Manu emphasized teamwork and timing, crafting plays that elevated his entire team. European scouts noticed quickly, and by the age of 18, he moved to Italy to play professionally for Virtus Bologna, one of Europe's top clubs. Manu's time in Italy was transformative. In the Italian League and the Euro League, he faced taller, stronger, and more experienced players than he ever had in Argentina, yet his creativity thrived. He led Virtus Bologna to multiple Italian League championships, won the Italian Cup, and captured 2 EuroLeague titles. In 2001, he was named the EuroLeague Finals MVP, cementing his reputation as one of the best players outside the NBA. During this time, he honed skills that would later become trademarks: the Euro step, quick-fingered steals, and clutch scoring in high-pressure moments. But despite his success, American scouts remained skeptical. Many doubted whether his slightly smaller frame, unorthodox style, and reliance on craft over athleticism could translate to the physical, fast-paced NBA. Then came the 1999 NBA Draft. On June 30, 1999, Manu's name was called 57th overall by the San Antonio Spurs, a late second-round pick. Analysts at the time treated it like a throwaway selection. Most predicted he would be a role player at best, with limited minutes and impact. Yet Gregg Popovich, the Spurs coach and general manager, saw something different: intelligence, versatility, and a mindset built for winning. Popovich wasn't looking for a flashy superstar. He wanted a player who could think on the fly, adapt to any role, and make the team better every time he touched the ball. In short, he saw a future system changer. After being drafted, Manu didn't immediately join the NBA. He stayed in Europe for 2 more seasons, continuing to refine his craft, compete at the highest level overseas, and mentally prepare for the league that skeptics claimed he couldn't dominate. By the time he arrived in San Antonio in 2002, he was polished, confident, and ready. The underdog, the overlooked foreign pick, the unconventional talent from Argentina, was about to challenge every expectation the NBA had about what a bench player could accomplish. In a league obsessed with stars and starting lineups, Manu was quietly preparing to prove that brilliance could come from the shadows, and that a second-round pick could change the course of history.
The Argentine player, Manu. Look at this, Ginóbili.
Duncan's got it deep against Walker. Ginóbili on the cut. Ginóbili on the reverse layup is good. Nice play.
Jackson. Ginóbili for 3.
Manu Ginóbili arrived in San Antonio in 2002, stepping into an NBA that was vastly different from Europe. The speed, physicality, and style of play were unlike anything he had faced overseas. Analysts continued to question whether he could adjust, arguing that his slightly smaller frame and unconventional approach would limit him. But from the very first game, it was clear that Manu's intelligence and creativity would allow him to carve a place in the league, even if he wasn't a starter. His rookie season numbers, 7.6 points, 2.8 assists, and 3.3 rebounds per game, didn't immediately stand out. He started only 29 of 77 games, often coming off the bench behind Tony Parker and other established guards. Yet the stats only told part of the story. Manu brought energy, unpredictability, and a unique basketball IQ that could shift momentum in an instant. With every spin move, behind-the-back pass, or Euro step, he forced defenders into mistakes. He didn't just score, he created opportunities, disrupted defensive schemes, and elevated the entire team's play. Ginobili quickly embraced the sixth-man role, a position many players might see as secondary or limiting. But Manu understood that true impact didn't require starting the game. It was about finishing it, about entering at the right moments to change the flow and energy. During the 2002-03 season, his ability to close quarters, hit clutch shots, and make game-changing plays became a strategic weapon for Gregg Popovich. That season, the Spurs won the NBA championship, and Manu's contribution, often overlooked in headlines, was undeniable. In crucial playoff games, he delivered steals, assists, and timely baskets that helped swing series in San Antonio's favor. His style was a challenge for opponents. European-trained, Manu relied on craft over brute force. He could dribble through traffic, manipulate angles, and execute unexpected passes that left defenses bewildered. The NBA hadn't fully seen moves like his Euro step or mid-air pass before. Opponents called him tricky or uncoachable, not realizing his brilliance was intentional, calculated, and deeply strategic. Each hesitation, fake, or misdirection was a form of basketball chess, forcing teams to adapt on the fly. Even as he excelled, controversy followed. Critics argued that a player off the bench shouldn't hold so much responsibility in critical games. Some analysts suggested he deserved to start, questioning Popovich's system, but Manu thrived in this ambiguity. The sixth-man role didn't limit him, it amplified him. He became the prototype for a new generation of players, demonstrating that leadership, influence, and dominance don't always require a starting position. By the mid-2000s, Ginobili wasn't just a Spurs role player. He was a revolutionary figure, whose style, intelligence, and unselfishness were reshaping how basketball measured value, impact, and greatness. Manu's rise as a sixth man wasn't just about points or assists, it was about changing expectations. He proved that a player could be selfless, inventive, and decisive all at once, while forcing the NBA to reconsider what makes a player truly indispensable. By the time he became an established star, Ginobili had quietly created a blueprint for future bench players. Be intelligent, be daring, be selfless, and let your impact speak louder than any stat line.
Right now, the Pistons are dead last in defending the three. Prince with the turnover. Ginobili, oh, beautiful move, and a foul!
Manu Ginóbili didn't just excel as a sixth man, he fundamentally redefined what it meant to be a bench player in the NBA. Before Manu, bench players were often seen as supporting cast, someone to rest the starters, mop up minutes, or provide occasional scoring bursts. Manu proved that a bench player could be the heart of a team, the catalyst in crucial moments, and the emotional engine that drives a championship run. He showed the league that impact isn't measured by starting status or minutes played, it's measured by intelligence, timing, and the ability to change the course of a game. The 2007-08 season stands as one of the clearest examples of Manu's system-breaking brilliance. That year, he averaged 19.5 points, 5.6 assists, and 4.1 rebounds per game, while often coming off the bench. In critical fourth-quarter stretches, he would seize control of games with moves that seemed impossible. Euro steps around larger defenders, no-look passes that left entire defenses scrambling, and clutch three-pointers that silenced arenas. Analysts debated whether he should start, but Gregg Popovich maintained that Manu's timing off the bench was strategic. By entering games after starters had fatigued defenses, he maximized his unpredictability and effectiveness. Beyond the numbers, Manu's style forced a rethink of defensive schemes. Teams could no longer rely solely on athleticism or size, they had to anticipate his creativity and intelligence. He became the prototype for what we now call a super sixth man. Opponents often called him tricky or chaotic, not understanding that every hesitation, fake, and sudden burst was intentional. A masterclass in basketball strategy, Manu's ability to manipulate angles, deceive defenders, and create opportunities made him one of the most dangerous players in playoff history, despite rarely being the focal point of the team. His impact wasn't just on the court. Manu helped redefine team culture, emphasizing intelligence, humility, and unselfishness. He inspired teammates to trust their instincts, value craft over pure athleticism, and embrace versatility. Yet controversy always followed him. Critics argued that relying on a bench player for pivotal moments was too risky. Some questioned whether Popovich's system could work in today's league, where star power dominates media attention. Manu's career proved those critics wrong. His repeated ability to deliver in clutch situations, steals, assists, and highlight reel plays showed that a selfless, intelligent player could break conventional basketball wisdom and succeed at the highest levels. By the end of his career, Manu accumulated over 14,000 points, 3,000 assists, and 5,600 rebounds, but numbers alone can't capture his true influence. He reshaped the perception of value in the NBA, showing that dominance could come from creativity, intelligence, and situational mastery, rather than just athleticism or starting status. Manu Ginóbili was more than a great player. He was a strategist, a disruptor, and a revolutionary. In a league obsessed with stars and starting lineups, he quietly broke the system and changed the game forever.
If you really want to know what Manu Ginóbili meant to the Spurs and meant to basketball, you could look at Gregg Popovich, because Gregg Popovich is not a man that tolerates a lot of nonsense.
Manu Ginobili's career was defined not just by championships and statistics, but by the debates and questions his brilliance provoked. Was he the best player on a Spurs team that included Tim Duncan and Tony Parker? Could he have been a franchise superstar on his own? These questions followed him throughout his career, yet Manu never sought the spotlight. He let his game speak for itself, prioritizing championships, teamwork, and situational intelligence over personal accolades. By the time he retired, he had 4 NBA championships, 2 All-Star selections, and an Olympic gold medal from the 2004 Athens Games, where he led Argentina to an improbable victory over a U.S. team stacked with NBA stars. Critics debated whether this was a fluke or proof that Manu could dominate anywhere, and his performance silenced doubters. He showed that his talent wasn't limited to the NBA, it was universal. Ginobili's impact extended far beyond statistics. In today's NBA, bench players are now expected to influence games with more than scoring. Defense, playmaking, and momentum shifting are all valued traits. Players like Lou Williams, Jordan Clarkson, and Tyrese Halliburton have followed in Manu's footsteps, showing that intelligence, creativity, and situational awareness can be as valuable as pure athleticism. Yet Manu's era was different. Critics often undervalued him because he didn't chase headlines or individual awards. Some argued that the league didn't fully appreciate how a player could dominate without being the focal point of a team. This ongoing controversy only cements his status as a disruptor, someone who forced the NBA to rethink traditional ideas about player value and impact. Internationally, Manu remains an icon. Beyond his Olympic gold, he helped elevate Argentina's basketball reputation on the world stage, inspiring generations of players across South America and Europe. He proved that elite talent could emerge from anywhere, challenging the NBA's historically US-centric scouting and development models. His European experience gave him a unique perspective, blending unorthodox creativity with tactical intelligence, which allowed him to thrive in a league built for athleticism and star power. Many analysts have since argued that Manu's influence on global basketball is as significant as his impact on the NBA itself. Controversy followed even in retirement. Analysts continue to debate how he would perform in today's hyper-athletic pace-and-space NBA. Could Manu's craft and intelligence compete with the sheer speed and verticality of modern stars? Or would his brilliance still be undervalued in a league obsessed with stats and highlight reels? One thing is undeniable. Manu Ginóbili redefined what it means to be a bench player. He showed that impact isn't confined to starting roles, that cleverness and craft can overturn conventional wisdom, and that greatness often comes quietly, intelligently, and unexpectedly. He wasn't just a player, he was a strategist, a cultural icon, and a pioneer whose influence will be felt for decades. The NBA as we know it exists in part because of him, and the bench player who broke the system is now an eternal legend. When Manu Ginóbili retired in 2018, he left behind more than stats or trophies. He left a blueprint for basketball greatness that defied conventional rules. 4 NBA championships, 2 All-Star selections, and an Olympic gold medal are only part of his legacy. Manu proved that a player doesn't need to start every game or chase the spotlight to change the outcome. He showed that intelligence, creativity, timing, and selflessness could be as powerful as athleticism, raw scoring, or fame. The Spurs dynasties of the 2000s weren't just built on stars like Tim Duncan or Tony Parker. They were powered by Manu's vision, craft, and unassuming brilliance. Today, bench players who can carry offenses, manipulate defenses, and create momentum owe their paths to him. Yet questions linger. Was he underrated in his era? Could a player like Manu dominate today's NBA? Or would his brilliance be overlooked in a league obsessed with individual accolades? One thing is undeniable. Manu Ginóbili transformed the concept of impact in basketball, proving that greatness often thrives quietly, cunningly, and unexpectedly. The bench player who broke the system is now not just a nickname, it is a legend etched in basketball history.